Yo, what's up guys? Another video today. I want to talk about Etheria Lily restart. So a lot of people have been talking about like, okay, I cannot clear the game because I don't have a Lily. I don't have a Lily and therefore I cannot clear the game. It's 1,000 times more difficult. It's not doable. But what is the solution to that? And there's a few options you could go for solutions. Of course, you could put her in the LD banner and make her a whaling contest. Is an option. Maybe not really recommended. Boost other units to make things more doable is an option. Nerf all of the content is also an option, or actually have something completely different. And that is something that's way easier to implement, and that is actually making it show that you don't need a Lily. And you might be like, say, you just go in here and like look at the Doki Doki, and you go in here, and all of them have Lilies. Well, actually, not really the case. Most of them in Doki Doki don't have Lilies. They just use this team. Oh, well, this team is Lily, but they just kind of use this team. So, but that is the thing. In this, you see a very specific amount of things that are clearing it. And sure, there's a lot of Lily teams in there. Maybe if you go towards the Aurora, it's definitely going to be a lot more Lily focused. Sure, like as we can see over here, pretty much everything is having a Lily in here. But what if you had an option over here and select do not use unit X? Because there's definitely way more clears in recent than this is, 100% for sure. But it's not showing because the ones that are more likely used are the ones that are better. And don't get me wrong, I 100% agree. Lily is a lot better than a lot of other units in those kind of states. But why is Lily that much better? Lily is a hyper enabler for your main damage dealer. Therefore, you only need one damage dealer to do as good as 2 or maybe even 2.5 damage dealers. Therefore, I only need one damage dealing set to do as good as 2 or 2.5 damage dealers, which just makes things a lot easier to build in the early game. But let me tell you, the longer we get into this game, the less interesting she will get for PvE. And that's also where you kind of see some creative teams already out there, such as this one. Sure, uses a Doki Doki, so you still have something going around. But this one, for example, no Lily over there. There's definitely a few places where there's no Lily, and that's also the thing, for example, in the Shell dungeons. If it was possible to see all of the runs without a Lily, or even in this case, you might say it's like, oh, I can't clear this dungeon at all if I don't have a Shadow Sanya. Everything is based on Shadow Sanya. Well, let me tell you that I've been running this on a team without a Shadow Sanya. And then you're going to be, of course, saying the next thing is like, yeah, but you're using a Lily. Well, let's actually remove the Lily. Let's remove the Lily and let's put in a Vice. So let's look what do we have. We have a Linglo, 5-star, level 42. We have an Obel, 5-star, level 11. We have a Chachi, the G, 5-star, level 11. And we have a Vice, 5-star, level 1. This is able to clear it. Is it good? No, by all means no, because these units are freaking low leveled. That's the main issue. Like, sure, the gear on them is decent, but it is possible. And that is the main thing. You don't see the possibilities because all you see is Lilies in your face. Everything you see is just Lilies, 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 Lilies. And you see Shadow Sanyas, and you see this, and you see that. And because the only thing you see is something you don't have, you feel like, okay, well, that's impossible. I can't do it. The only simple fix they have to do is simply showcase teams that do not use those units. So it would be really cool if you can go into those things and just say it's like, okay, I want units with that are minimum including like X, Y, or Z, and then give me all of the replays on that. Or let me include or exclude units. And that's the main thing. Because people would like to exclude Shadow Sanyas, they don't have. People like to exclude the Lilies, they don't have. And with that, I do have a few examples. Also, I just saw a team in Shadow Flame Hoyam, which was really cool. And those kind of teams are very easy to find. And might you say it's like, oh, but all of the content creators are just based on Lilies. Well, a lot of the content creators are content creators because they played the beta. Because they played the beta, they know Lily was pretty darn good in everything. And they started rerolling for 7-8 hours for her just to lock in that Lily. They are sweats, they're tryhards, they're content creators. That's what we're there for pretty much. So yeah, we all have like Lilies pretty much, or most of us have Lilies because we did do the rerolling process. But you can't expect it of everyone. So this would be a nice process to at least showcase what is the possibilities. Don't get me wrong. Is it, of course, going to be worse than actually throwing a Lily at this? Yeah, of course, throwing a Lily at this, the boss would have probably... Well, this run, I did let it on auto for a bit. It had like a bit of fail rate for sure. I think it was like failing like 2 or 3 times out of the 10 runs. But the main thing was that it was like 4-minute runs compared to my Lily 2-minute run. But then again, you have a limited amount of stability you can use in the day, and therefore it is not as bad. And also, once again, keep in mind that I'm trying to do something right now with a whole bunch of 5 stars. And now it just got unlucky of rotation with an armor break in there, and then stuff tends to die. That is not that fortunate. Also, I'm not landing that many dots at the moment. So it's all about the dots from Obo, which is just trying to solo dot it, which definitely does take a fair bit of time. But yeah, the options are definitely there. It just takes a little bit more effort. You have to get the skill ups. Very important. I think that's the thing that people have been slacking out the most on. The skill ups. If your Obo is not skilled up in this, he's not gonna clear it. Like, trust me, he's not gonna cut the chase where he has to start clearing all of this, because he just simply does not get the 3 dots in here. He does not get a double dot on a skill 1 kind of stuff. And that's where things just go horribly wrong. And in this case, it still kind of goes horribly wrong, because my Vice should definitely be a 6 star if you want to do this with a Vice. If you want to do this properly, so this is going to be one of those runs that fails. But you kind of can see the idea of it. It's like, hey, you can get pretty far. And keep in mind, all of those units here on the field are 5 stars. Yeah, if you actually want to invest in a proper team, you gotta make them 6 stars. That's just the main case in it. And say, might you be like, hey, say you just showed a team that failed. Well, make them 6 star, they definitely will succeed. If you're asking about the gear that we have over here, I can definitely show you the gear. And of course, the Lily one does work a lot better, because as I mentioned, Lily makes the Obo skill 1 a lot more impactful. And Obo skill 1 is the one that actually works better for the dots. If you were to go for this team altogether, I would recommend to put Fungus over here, because Fungus is a better DPSer on dots if you're not using a Lily next to it. So Obo in this case is also worse in slot than a Fungus is in the first place. So if you're using this team, go for a Fungus in here, definitely will be better. But the Vice, as mentioned, if you have higher HP, it's a really good unit, free-to-play unit, does have an insane amount of dots and everything. Or not insane amount of dots, insane amount of healing, has the attack down, has the taunt, so therefore will be mainly targeted. You have to make him super tanky, you have to make him fast, you want to make him a swift rush, maybe not strive, but something more tanky. And this one, of course, max accuracy. This one you want to have 183 accuracy on the top of my head. Also max skill over here. This one as well. Max skill and skill 1. Otherwise, if you don't have this, you're not gonna win that. Like, trust me on that one. So therefore, GP Outpost was way more important than farming investigation during the double drop, because those are the things that do really help you. Also, my Linglo is skilled on the skill 1. Skill 1 is insanely good. Also, I'm using 0 artisans. If you were to use artisans, which is a high recommendation for, I would say, you could legitimately use 4 artisans. Like the Codex of Magic over here is just straight up bad. I don't really have artisans that much, but I'm definitely farming this one to get my artisans. But if you use artisans, this one once again gets way easier. So not really a showcase of my Nico Nana team, but just showing like the possibilities of like, okay, there are things out there that make it possible. But let me put this back to an auto run. Once again, also in this team, if I would use artisans, especially on this, or maybe if on you, no, I would say you or you for artisans would definitely do better. But it works. Like this one feels like 5% of the time. But also for the other stages, well, this one you cannot dot. Most teams, or legit every team out there right now, is a Lily. I'm pretty sure if you would have the button that exclude Lilies, would maybe give me something that would be not on a Lily team, because this one is like legit 100% Lilies. DPS can vary a little bit back and forth, but 100% Lilies. Also in here, I saw one, let's see if it's still there. It did not have a Lily, and it did not have a Shadow Sanya, and those are the most interesting clears. And the thing is, right now, they're super hard to find because they're not many, because people mostly do have that. Oh, this was the one. So this is no Lily, no Shadow Sanya. And those are the kind of teams people would like to see more. But then again, since I think the majority of the population does have a Lily, people are just simply invested in the Lily because they put their Lattices there, they put all of the resource there, they put all of the effort there. Therefore, they use those kind of units. But if you don't have those units, then you're going to be like, yeah, I can't play the game. It's impossible. Well, it's not impossible. You just have to make your work way around other things. And sure, it's going to be harder. No one's saying that it's easier. Because, well, why would other people use Lily if that was the harder route? Like, that's just fair fact. But the options are there. You just have to be looking for them. And the way to look for them is kind of gated by you only seeing 10. And that would be the main thing. So I hope that this video does bloom up a little bit. And therefore, people from XD Company would be like, hey, yo, that actually does make a lot of sense, and we can make people happy with a very small change to the game, which actually doesn't change anything in the game, but just make things easier to find for the usability. And that's also, like in my previous team, this team does have 2 artisans. If I did have artisans in the previous team that I showcased, it would probably go towards like a 90 or a 100% win rate as well, even with using the Vice as a 5-star. I would still recommend to build it as a 6-star if you actually want to make those teams. But that's the thing, if you just have the right units, then you can definitely do that as well. Also, Vice in this one probably would do pretty decent. But also the big thing is, how do you replace a Lily? In most cases, it's either a second DPS, or it is something to make the run a lot safer. And a second DPS is mostly the way to go, because a lot of these stages are pretty much bound by, like, if you take too much damage, you're gonna die. So for that reason, I would recommend going a second DPS, or not even necessarily like too much damage, you're gonna die. If the run takes too long, they get some stacking buff and you die from the stacking buff. So those kind of things. There's probably teams out there for about everything right now, without a Lily, without a Shadow Sanya. It's just a big issue. Those are definitely not that many. And because there are not that many, you cannot find them in the recent clears. And for that reason, people are just saying like it is impossible without. Well, give me the button that shows no Lily teams, and then actually show that there's no teams at all. Well, if there's no teams at all at that point, then yeah, that's maybe the impossible factor, or people still have to figure it out without. But until that time, we actually don't know if it's impossible, because I definitely do think a lot more things are possible without a Lily, without a Shadow Sanya than you think. We just don't see them, because a lot of people are just going under the radar, not making content, not talking about stuff, but figuring out like crazy teams. That would be really cool to see more of those in here. So let me know in the comments if you do agree with this adding to the game, and if you would like to see XD Company implement this. If so, like this video, subscribe to the channel, maybe share this video to a bunch of friends that you might be also saying like, hey, I can't play the game because of Lily. Because the game is actually very playable without Lily. It's just a bit harder. Quite a bit harder. Not gonna lie. It's quite a bit harder, but you will get there over time. So that's all for this video. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. See you as always in the next one. Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.